Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
QR codes are everywhere. QR codes. QR codes is a little square, looks like a little maze, a little square symbol with a bunch of dots in it. And if you take your smartphone and put it up to the QR code and take a picture of it, your camera can translate that code into a URL, which can then take you to a website. And so a lot of places are now using QR codes. I remember running the Free Press Marathon a few years back and talking to somebody about, I wonder when they'll have the results posted. And a friend of mine just reached over with his smartphone and snapped a picture of the QR code on my race number. And he said, there you go. And it was just minutes after the race. And so QR codes are very, very cool, very handy. I remember a lot of restaurants I went to during COVID would have a QR code taped to the table. And they just say, you want to see a copy of the menu, rather than handing you a menu that's been handled by other people today. You can take a QR code snapshot there and it'll put the menu on your phone. So QR codes are a lot of places, but as with anything else in this world that becomes ubiquitous and used by a lot of people, they can be dangerous. Susan Tompour of the Detroit Free Press, paper I delivered as a child, points out that the touchless QR codes have also opened new doors for scammers. So you've seen them in restaurants and so on. But scammers now want to offer you that touchless experience too. The Better Business Bureau is warning consumers that they need to be extra careful if they're sent a QR code. A victim told the BBB scam tracker they received a fraudulent letter about student loan consolidation, which contained a QR code that linked them to a site called studentaid.gov. But the QR code also helped the letter, which is part of the fraud, appear official. A QR code, or quick response code, is a matrix barcode that took off in 1994 after an auto parts supply giant began using it. As the QR codes have become more commonly used, though, the BBB notes that it has received reports nationwide of con artists using the system to their advantage. Chief of Staff and Director of Marketing for the Better Business Bureau, Laura Blankenship, said locally in eastern Michigan, she has not received any QR complaints yet, but it's likely just a matter of time because they can be used for phishing scams. So just like clicking any link, you have to be careful what website you're opening on your phone. If you've never heard of the organization or the website where the QR code is supposed to go to, that's a huge flag. So just because you see a QR code doesn't mean you should just click on it. The same way you wouldn't just click on a link that someone sent you. A QR code is simply a fancy link that's been sent to you. Think of it that way, okay? Experts note that QR codes are a bit like a shortened URL when it comes to fraud. And URL is Uniform Resource Locator, or it's basically an internet link. A consumer isn't going to be able to immediately see where the link will take them, so criminals can disguise their motives and abuse the technology. The BBB alert says that the scam can start via email, a direct message on social media, a text message, a flyer, or even a piece of mail that contains a QR code. So, a lot of times people think, well, I open up a letter I got in the mail, and it's paper. It can't hurt me, can it? QR code, you click that, and now suddenly you're on the internet. You're off the paper, you're into the internet, where all bets are off. Scammers want you to scan the code with your phone's camera, but you have no idea where it's going to take you. Some possible bad outcomes could be that they can now send text messages to one or all contacts in your address book, send a payment to a destination where it cannot be recovered, and believe it or not, an alert even went out from the U.S. Army Major Cybercrime Unit. In some scams, the QR code takes you to a phishing website where you're prompted to enter personal information or log in credentials for scammers to steal. So in other words, you'll get a letter that says, we're from your bank and we've got a concern here. Click this QR code. And you click that and you go there and they're like, oh, you got to double check your login credentials. Con artists have used QR codes to automatically launch payment apps or follow a malicious social media account. Scams can differ, but the crooks want you to scan the code right away. What you need to do, though, is step back, as always. Pause for a minute. Think to yourself, ask around, and make sure the correspondence is legitimate before you scan the code. Contact a friend or a coworker directly to see what they might have sent and make sure the sender wasn't hacked. The BBB also offers other warnings. Don't open links from strangers. So if you receive an unsolicited message from a stranger, don't scan the QR code, even if they promise you exciting gifts or investment opportunities. I still am amazed that scammers are out there pitching the trunk full of money, or I'm a dying person in Europe, and I've got hundreds of millions of dollars to give to a needy person. Do you want it? Because it must still work on some level because they keep doing it. They've been doing it now for 20 or 30 years. But verify the source, of course. If a QR code appears to come from a well-known company or government agency, take extra time to go to the official website to confirm it. And I've mentioned this before. I get the emails all the time saying, your bank account has been compromised. We've locked your account. Please log in here and correct it. And the problem is that most of those come from banks I don't do business with. But I have gotten them from my bank. And of course, I know, well, this is just like the other one I got yesterday from one that wasn't my bank. And so all I do is I delete that email and go to my bank through what I know to be the correct portal to see. And a couple days ago, I actually got one that was legitimate. It was the strangest thing. And I feel so sorry for a big company that's got to send out emails to somebody saying, hey, there's been an issue with your account. Please look into it. Because they know that many people are going to see it and go, it's another scam email. It's another scam email. And I know what one of them was. And one of them, about a week ago, I got a thing in the email, and it said, Steve, or it actually didn't say Steve. I think it said your customer, but it just goes, there's a problem with your account. You need to re-enter your credit card information. And I thought to myself, okay, that's a scam. But it was purportedly from a company I do business with. So I deleted the email, and I went to the company. I went into my account, and there, believe it or not, was a notice saying, this credit card appears to have expired. And I looked at it, and it had. So I pulled out my credit card, and I entered a new credit card. And I said, thank you. But I didn't click the link in the email. That's the key. You never do that. If the email is legitimate, you should be able to go in through normal route and get it. So be suspicious if, after scanning a QR code, a password or login information is requested. Never give that information. Be wary of short links. If a URL shortened link appears when you scan a QR code, understand you can't know where the code is directing you because it could be hiding a malicious URL. Some scammers will attempt to mislead consumers by altering legitimate business ads. So sometimes it looks real. It looks real, and it's not. So install a QR scanner with added security if you want to. You can do this. Some antivirus companies have QR scanner apps that check the safety of a scanned link before you open it. They can identify phishing scams, forced app downloads, and other dangerous links. Adam Levin, who is the founder of CyberScout and author of Swiped, How to Protect Yourself in a World Full of Scammers, said consumers need to realize that QR codes are easy to print out. Scammers sometimes cover legitimate QR codes with bad ones. So if you were a scammer and you had a bunch of stickers with QR codes on them that were scammy QR codes, you could go around places that have legitimate QR codes and kind of stick your sticker on top of theirs. And so if someone doesn't notice it and they go, I'm going to get the menu for this restaurant, you click it and it takes you to some malicious website. It's possible. It's possible. So the important thing is to understand what the transaction simply is. And when you are scanning a QR code, you are simply picking up a URL, a web address. And then if you click on the web address, it's like clicking on any other web address because it's take you to a website, right? And the question is, do you trust the website? So you should ask yourself, do you trust the QR code? Because the QR code is, in essence, shorthand for a website. And I find this amusing on another level because I recently started broadcasting live at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday, on mymytv.com, mymytv.com. There's an app you can get, mymytv.com, and you can get the app at the app stores and all different places for Android and iTunes and iPhones and so on. And you can get the app and download it. And we're letting people call into the show via Zoom. You can Zoom into the show. It's Talk TV. And starting recently, we've been putting up a QR code on the screen saying if you want to call in and you want to do it more easily, scan this code off your TV set or off your device or whatever. Scan it and it'll cut some stuff out for you and make it easier for you to zoom in. And so I recently started putting QR codes out there. So I'm one of the people. But I'm one of the people doing the good QR code. You can trust me. You know me, right? You know me. So there you go. Stories from the Detroit Free Press. Susan Tompo wrote it. Touchless QR codes open new doors for scammers. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Error. No keyboard. Press F1 to continue?